We all belong to a house. Yes. Alumnus associations, religious groupings, communities, families, what have you? And the question is, are there wise men and women in the house? Do we have people we can consider elders in the house? Are they highly educated watching? Why should the house be like this with all these caliber of people as a part of the family size? The paradox of a dysfunctional community, whether it's a literal family, an alumni association, or a professional body, is never more striking than when that community is populated by the brilliant, the seasoned, and the highly credentialed. We often ask, where are the wise? Not because they are absent, but because they are silent. When a house remains in a state of disrepair, despite having masters of industry and elders of wisdom within its walls, we are forced to confront the difference between presence and participation. Is your presence just enough? Let's consider the following. In the comment section, let me hear your thoughts too. Number one, the myth of the passive elder. In many cultures, including yours and mine, elderhood is a status bestowed by time. But in a functional society, in this house I'm talking about, it is a role defined by intervention. A house begins to crumble when those with the most wisdom become spectators to the decay. And another question that comes to mind, what if those who are expected to be custodians of the wisdom are rather creating the confusion and the chaos? Wisdom is not a private treasure to be hoarded. Yeah, wisdom is not a private treasure to be hoarded. It is a public utility intended to guide, correct, and stabilize. When the wise men and women in the house choose the comfort of silence over the discomfort of correction, they abdicate their position. Did you hear the words? Abdicate their position. You might just be an older person, not an elder. They are no longer elders. They are simply older. True elderhood requires the courage to step into the room of conflict and bring order to the chaos and confusion. Not when you created yourself, regardless of that age, that you expected to be a custodian of wisdom. If you create the chaos and the confusion, you are just an older member in the house. You are not an elder. If the house is like this, unruly, stagnant, or toxic, it is often because the wise have prioritized their own peace over the health of the family ties. Number two, the credentialed spectator. Similarly, we must look at the highly educated among us. I'm a licensed psychosocial counselor. I work with people across all walks of life. Those who can't even write their names and those who have 2 PhDs. And my conclusion, until I get another premise to warrant a different conclusion, I have to come to the conclusion that life is not about your certificates. No. There are some can't even write their own names, but they have lived meaningful lives that their communities have benefited. Don't just show me your papers. Show me your leadership in this house I am talking about. Your education caused you to write an exams and passed it so well, and I salute you. But what is it with your certificates if it can't be meaningful in that community, in this house I am talking about? Education is meant to provide the analytical tool to diagnose problems and also the strategic mindset to solve them. So education is not supposed to be creating problems. Educated minds, the highly educated, are not supposed to be the author of confusion and chaos. They were rather to be able to diagnose or provide analytical tool to diagnose problems and also give strategic mindset or have the strategic mind to solve them. Is that the case in these houses I've mentioned? Yet there is a recurring phenomenon where the most educated members of a group of these houses I've mentioned are the ones most likely to distance themselves from the messiness of the communal duty. What then is the essence of you being a member of that house? High caliber intellect becomes a hollow asset if it is not applied to the immediate environment. Should I repeat? High caliber intellect becomes a hollow asset if it is not applied to the immediate environment. So you have worked here, your beautiful profile on paper. Let that intellect become applicable. Apply that in this house that is your immediate environment. In our job settings, the systems are already created. You don't need to be a leader to follow the systems. It is only in these kind of houses that your leadership is felt, experienced, and expressed. So don't tell me where you've worked and your profile on paper. No, I won't buy into it. I want to see your leadership, the meaning you bring into this immediate environment these houses have enumerated. If the educated are watching but not working, the house suffers from a waste of potential. If the highly educated are just watching, they become observers. The house suffers from the waste of potential. Pedagogy and professional trainings are useless if they do not translate into agency. So don't show me the papers of written. Show me the leadership in these immediate environments. A degree should not be a shield to hide behind, but it should be a sword to clear the path for the next generation. Number 3, the failure of the collective caliber. Why does a house of high caliber people fail? Why does a house with people like you, highly educated, why should that house fail? It happens when individual success is disconnected from communal solvency. We have people who are giants in their personal lives, but ghosts in their shared spaces. When family ties are treated as a burden rather than a base, the house these houses have enumerated become a collection of successful strangers rather than a unified force. The caliber of an individual is irrelevant if the collective output is subpar. The caliber of the individual is irrelevant if the collective output is subpar. We must therefore ask ourselves, Are we using our status to build ourselves or to shore up the foundations of our communities? We should ask ourselves, is our education making us more effective or just more critical? Are we waiting for someone else to lead, forgetting that we are the very people the house is waiting for? Number 4, the call for the royal intervention. The call for the royal intervention. To restore the house, the wise and educated must move from the sidelines to the center. There are people highly educated. There are people who are not so much educated, but full of wisdom. You should move from the sidelines to the center. This requires a shift from observation to ownership. If you are a person of influence, your caliber is measured by the state of the spaces you inhabit. If you are a person of influence, you have worked at heaven, you have worked at here, you have worked at there. Yeah. Your caliber is measured by the state of the spaces you inhabit. A leader does not ask, why is the house like this? Without also asking, what have I failed to offer? That is leadership. Don't just be a boss, be a leader. Instead of asking, why is the house like this? Ask yourself, what have I failed to offer? It is time for the wise to speak, for the elders to guide, and for the educated to apply their brilliance to the cracks in our foundation. The family ties that bind us are only as strong as our willingness to protect them. Should I repeat? Within all these houses, and the ones you know that I didn't even mention, within all these houses, the ties, the bond that bind us are only as strong as our willingness to protect them. Don't just be an older person in the house, be an elder. You can just be an older person by your age, but if you are a custodian of confusion and chaos, you can't be considered an elder. You're just an older folk in that. Be an elder instead. The purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open mind. Education is not just supposed to be in the piece of paper, the certificates we acquire, but the impact, the contributions we make in these houses. Think about these things. TheLadyKeziah is my name. I'm a licensed psychosocial counselor and a transformative mindset coach. If you want to work with me, visit my profile, my channel. My link is there, and book a session with me. We can become more, do more, and give more to these houses that we are about. Much love and blessings.